The Dodgers will try to take a commanding 2-0 lead in the NLDS today, but with Will Smith clearly not at 100%, should he even play in Game 2? And is a sweep actually realistic? We're breaking it all down right now on Locked On Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. The Dodgers landed in Philly and took over. Ohtani dominated. The Hernandezes delivered. And the crowd, dead silent. Now it's all about Game 2. Do you risk Will Smith at less than 100%? And are the Dodgers about to sweep this thing? Let's talk about it, Travis.
I'm all here for a sweep. I don't know if that's what we'll get, but if that's possible, I am all in. Today's episode of Locked On Dodgers is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app, so download that FanDuel app today.
He's Travis Rodgers. I'm Harry Ruiz, two guys who talk sports for a living and bleed Dodger blue for life. You can get more Travis on 710 ESPN LA or the ESPN LA app from 3 to 6 p.m. with the Travis and DeMarco show. As for me, I'm the Spanish play-by-play broadcaster for the USC Football Trojans and the Las Vegas Raiders, but nothing beats jumping on the mic every weekday morning and diving deep into what I love most, talking Dodger baseball with you. And we want you to be a part of our show. Hit us up on the Locked On Dodgers listener line, 279-3-LOCKED or 279-356-2533. You can either leave us a voicemail or a text, and you might be featured in our show. Let's jump right into it, Travis. And first, the construction of the roster. Only two changes from the one that they had in the wild card round. You got Clayton Kershaw and Anthony Banda coming in. You got Edgardo Henriquez and Justin Robleski being left off of the roster. Not a lot of moves, still three catchers. What did you make out of it?
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit of a surprise. No surprise that Kershaw is back on the roster. I'm surprised that Dean is still there. I'm surprised that three catchers are still there. The third catcher, I understand that it's there in the event that Will Smith can't catch, but it can only hit. But as far as the bullpen arms go, I think we have a pretty clear picture on how they're going to go about trying to piece that together. I don't think they need a ton of bullpen arms because they're just not going to use those guys. They're going to try to navigate their way through it without them. Having more options at the plate, I guess, is interesting. Having some options defensively is interesting because, Harry, if they continue to do which is what they've done, is play with a lead, then those pitchers become less important and some optionality on defense, I think, becomes a little more.
Of course. And defense towards the end of the game, it was like, okay, this is going to be key because you're only up by 2 runs. Yeah. So you want to be able to keep that lead towards the end of the game with the arms that you're using out there. So starting off with this game, it was the Hernandezes. I know the Dodgers took a 3-0 deficit early in the game. Teoscar Hernández, the adventure with him at right field keeps on going. The Dodgers could have realistically limited the damage in that inning to 1 run, but Teoscar just forgetting how to play right field, how cutting off balls going his way converted what could have been an RBI double or an RBI single into a 2 RBI triple from JT Realmuto. You're not talking about Trey Turner. Yeah. You're not talking about Bryce Harper, who he can hustle. You're talking about Realmuto, the catcher. And, man, that right there started getting into our nerves, but it's part of the Teoscar Hernández experience because he ended up being the hero in this game.
I guess so, because I know that I'm not alone in watching that and saying, what in the world is going on out there? And you had flashbacks to those ugly moments in Colorado a few months ago where it just felt like he was stuck in the mud, that he couldn't move at all. The effort was not there. The explosivity, the speed, like nothing was there, to the point of, if that's the amount of effort you're going to give in defensively, then we can't use you. And then he hits a 3-run home run. So if, he keeps showing up and swinging the bat like that, then I guess you'll take what you get defensively, because that was an unbelievable at-bat. But he was right on the edge of being one of those guys that was a Dodger fan favorite for a long time to hey, bro, what are you doing out there? You have to work harder than that. but he escaped. And then, of course, you get October Kike, which is a thing in and of itself that it's inexplicable. And I'm not going to try too hard to think about what it is. And I'm just going to enjoy it while it lasts.
Exactly. He's the spark plug.
He really is.
Kike Hernandez, I mean, he's a guy who's been there, done that, been in those clutch postseason spots, and he delivered a 2-run double in the 6th to finally have the Dodgers score in this game, where it was like, okay, you got that monkey off your back. You're like, okay, we're close in this game. 1 run. It would have been great to tie the game in that inning, but you'll take what you can get, and then you put your team in a position for success, where when they had runners on first and second for Teoscar Hernández, I was like, okay, just get a hit and we'll tie this game. Man, I saw that ball going to right field, and I'm like, okay, get off the wall, and we're going to take the lead. It goes over the wall. I'm like, holy crap, we're up by 2, and this is the power from that bat that we hope we had in these instances. He crushed that 3-run homer, and that was all that the Dodgers needed in this game. But we have to talk, Travis. That bullpen, the management, Dave Roberts, the front office, they deserve every round of applause that we can give him, because Tyler Glasnow, he went nearly 2 innings. You brought in Alex Vezina for a key out, and then Roki Sasaki. Man, I know that he wants to be a starter long term, but if he wanted to, he could be the next great Dodger closer with the way that his stuff is going right now. I know he's super young, but this was a complete team win.
It really was, right down from the starting pitcher. Shohei Ohtani was really good. Like you said, the damage in that 1 inning could have been minimized a great deal. The 3 runs looks a little ugly, but he gave up nothing after that. He pitched himself out of some jams after that. I thought that, Tyler Glasnow is a $100 million pitcher being asked to come out of the bullpen. I'm sure that lands a certain way, and he did a great job. He came in there and was competing, and was not the typical Tyler Glasnow, can be a little fidgety and whatnot. So I thought he did a really good job. And look, like you said, Harry, give credit where credit's due. Alex Vezina had got a big out. It's a bit of a high wire act. It's a little nerve-wracking along the way because of what we've seen. But you and I have both said this. The everydayers have heard us say this. Alex Vezina is one of those guys, he's going to compete. He's going to go in there and fight like crazy, and he did. And then I don't want to talk too much about Sasaki for fear of breaking the spell, but whatever they taught that guy in AAA, whatever light bulb went on above his head, whatever competitive switch got turned on, leave it all on, because he might be the difference between them winning this round. He might be the difference between them winning the next round. He might be the difference between them going back-to-back and winning the World Series, because he's the first guy we've seen in a while that when he comes out of that pen, you actually expect outs as opposed to let's see what happens. It's an incredible addition. He seems well-suited for the role. Keep it rolling.
I'll say this. Can we exchange contracts and have Roki Sasaki receive Tanner Scott's deal and Tanner Scott get Roki Sasaki's deal? Because that's how they've been playing over the last weeks, where it's like, okay, you know what? Back that Brinks truck up for Roki Sasaki if he keeps pitching this way for the boys in blue, because they needed a closer. They literally didn't have anyone to close games since August? And now July. Well, July there weren't a big need for closers.
True.
We were losing a lot of games, but since August you were choking games. You were losing a game that you had a no-hitter with 1 out left in Baltimore, and you were letting it go. Right now, Roki Sasaki, you've been in that spot on the mound before, Travis. The responsibility between being told, you're starting the game, we need you to go 5, 6, 7 innings, to saying, dude, you got 3 guys to get out. That's a huge difference.
It is a huge difference. And the big, there's more pressure because there's no margin of error. You can't walk people, because the second you walk someone, now you're a swing away from either giving up the lead or losing the game or whatever it is. But it also is a little bit easier in one regard, Harry. I don't have to worry about the next at-bat. I got to worry about this one. I don't have to worry about how I'm going to get you out next time while I'm trying to get you out this time. I can throw my best pitch at you over and over and over again. By the time you can kind of figure out what it is that I'm doing, hopefully you're out, and the lineup doesn't turn over by the time it comes around again. One of the things that I don't know if this was, I shouldn't even say I don't know. I'd be stunned if this was done by design, but no one really got to see him all season long. He is a brand new guy. There is no, as nasty as Snell and Yamamoto and Ohtani and Glasnow are, guys have gotten a chance to see them over and over and over again, and it becomes slightly, I'm not saying a lot, but slightly more familiar knowing release point, sequencing, all that thing. Sasaki is brand new. Nobody has any idea of what that is. Now, maybe if they see the Cubs in the next round, we'll see. They got a little bit of a look at him, but it's a slight advantage towards Sasaki that no one's got a good look at him all season long.
And you've seen players over the years, both at the batter's box and at the mound, that once they start their careers in the big leagues, they could have early success, but then there starts to be tendencies. There starts to be tells. There starts to be situations where other teams figure them out, and all of a sudden they can't hit. They can't pitch. Right now, Roki is so fresh that hopefully this stays on for the next month here with the boys in blue, who could feel that tone being set right now, Travis. The Dodgers, they didn't mess around. They took game one and they stole home field advantage. And this isn't a game with Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie going for a combined 1-for-12 with 2 walks. That's scary for Philadelphia, where you can say, man, the top of the lineup didn't even produce for the boys in blue, and they were still able to win. That meant our role players were way better than your role players.
Yeah, I think you're right. If you are a Phillies fan right now, I think this is a little bit concerning. And the Dodgers, I think, caught a real break because they ran into Ohtani on a day where he was only really good as opposed to flat out unhittable. Like they had a chance to beat him and they didn't. They had a chance to face a Dodger team where Ohtani struck out 4 times, to where Betts and Freeman, like you mentioned, were not huge factors in this game, and they still lost because you're not going to get a great look at Snell. You're not going to get a great look at Yamamoto. Those guys are going to hit, and that the Dodgers won a game without their best guys being their best guys is a huge, huge leg up for the Dodgers. And now you got to go for the throat.
You have to. You got to go for the jugular. You got to go and finish them off. But there was one storyline that stood out, and it wasn't so pretty. Will Smith was out of the starting lineup again, came in mid-game, and didn't look right. Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, should the Dodgers even play Will Smith in Game 2, or should they let him heal up and right with Ben Rortvedt? We'll break that down coming up.
The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you are not going to want to miss, because right now, new customers, you can bet just $5, and when you do that, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets if that bet wins. That's right. You just pick any old bet, you put down $5, and if that bet hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app however you'd like. And that's one of the things I love the most about FanDuel is there are so many different ways that you can play. If you like parlays like me, FanDuel's got that covered. You like player props, FanDuel's got you covered there. Even live lines during games, FanDuel has you covered on all of this. It makes watching football, playoff baseball, even more exciting when you've got a little something extra riding on the action. So whether you're a casual fan or you are hardcore, you love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience that much better. So let me ask you a question. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started.
Thanks for making us your first listen wherever you may be tuning in, either on your favorite podcast app or our YouTube channel. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Full episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and the Dodgers postcast show with Pete Fox live after the final out of every game. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everydayer here on Locked On Dodgers. All right, let's talk about it. Will Smith, one of the Dodgers' most consistent bats throughout the year and one of the most important catchers in all of baseball, he clearly isn't 100%. He was subbed in during the game, went 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, and got hit by a pitch. But that swing didn't look right. The timing wasn't there. And honestly, the at-bats didn't have the same confidence we're used to seeing from Will. So now here's the thing. If Will were fully healthy, no problem at all, especially with how lefty heavy the rotation is for the Phillies. But the Dodgers, do they need him on that lineup right now, Travis, or do you roll with Ben Rortvedt? Because Smith, we didn't see what we usually see from him.
No, he did not look like himself. This is one of the best players in the league. This is somebody that was a very viable MVP candidate halfway through the season and was having arguably the greatest season of his career so far. He does not look right. And think about how difficult of an ask it is that they're doing this. So he's missed the better part of a month of the season. His timing has got to be, rusty at best and way off at worst. And now all of a sudden you're throwing him in against a team that might be the best team in the National League or might have the best set of relievers in the National League. And all of a sudden you're asking him to find his groove and his timing against that level of competition. That is a huge ask. Obviously, there is a really good chance that he's not going to get right, or otherwise they wouldn't have carried 3 catchers. If this was just hey, he's healthy, he's ready to go, we just got to get the timing back, you wouldn't have that 3rd catcher on the roster, I don't believe. So it's a really tough call. He's a much better player than those other guys, but if he's not healthy, then I don't know how valuable he actually is. Rortvedt has been doing a good job. He can handle the bat a little bit, bunt, things like that. I'd love to see Will Smith be a part of it, but the simple fact that they're not starting him and that they're trying to deploy him as strategically as they can leads me to believe that he's barely healthy at all. So I don't know. I'd rather have somebody that can at least move a runner along and swing the bat and put the bat on the ball than a guy that's trying to rediscover his timing at the toughest time of the year.
Yeah, and you also, I don't want to sound like a douchebag, but you got to start thinking about Monday, October 13th, which is when the NLCS starts. You want to be able to have Will Smith at 100% for that series. And I feel that the Dodgers, Ben Rortvedt, if I recall correctly, he drew a walk in this game. So he got on base the exact same amount of times as Will Smith did. And the catcher position, it's a grueling one. It's one that takes a lot of energy out of your body. And he came in as an offensive replacement in the top of the 5th inning. So he played 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He played in 5 innings behind home plate. That's rough. I know that it's a hand injury, not a lower body injury, but it's a situation where it's like, okay, what happens when there's a runner on base that is a guy like Trey Turner, who might be able to steal 2nd and 3rd with no sweat because Will Smith's right hand has a hairline fracture? That's a situation where I feel that you put your team behind the 8 ball if you don't have Roki Sasaki, Tyler Glasnow, Alex Vesia be right on beat, which, by the way, Tyler Glasnow, he did a great job, but by the time he left the game, the bases were juiced. The bases were loaded with a 2-run lead. So you have to consider all those situations, and I'm a huge fan of Will Smith. I love guys that come out of our system and earn themselves 6-figure contracts. Sorry, not 6 figures. 9-figure contracts. Exactly. Yeah, 6 figures for Roki Sasaki because he came over in a minor league deal, but he deserves that Tanner Scott deal. 9-figure deals. I love it. I love those kind of scenarios. But right now, I feel that the Dodgers, I hate to say it, I feel they're in a better spot if Will Smith just gets back to 100%. If we needed him, if you need a guy in a pinch hit scenario, which kind of was the case on Saturday, you use him. But it's just tough having him back there the whole game.
I think you're right. I think he's there to be used as a hitter, as a pinch hitter extraordinaire, to be able to, you get a guy at 2nd and 3rd and you need a big at bat and you're not in the meat of the order where you'd like to be. You might be able to deploy Will Smith there. But I'm with you. I think that the vulnerabilities of his catching, if in fact he can't throw at all, that's something. Now, here's the rub, and you can't really count on this or plan for this, but the Dodger pitching has been so good that there aren't a lot of guys on base, that you're not asking him to throw a lot. So maybe getting his bat in there, 3, 4, 5 times a game is worth the risk of maybe being a little less than perfect defensively.
So we all agree it's all about using him strategically. And Dave Roberts said yesterday during his Zoom media call that it would be a situation where he would talk with him this morning, Monday morning, to see where he was at, how he was feeling. And it would depend on that, if he would start, if he would come in late. So we shall wait and see when that starting lineup comes out. All right, now let's dream a little. The Dodgers are up 1-0 in this series. Snell goes today. Yamamoto goes Wednesday. The Phillies, they look overmatched. So how realistic is a sweep? Something that if you ask us this last week when the Dodgers went from wild card team to divisional series team, we were like, man, it's going to be real rough to win this series. So now we're all like, hey, a sweep is realistic. Next on Locked On Dodgers, we'll break down the numbers, the matchups, and what the odds are saying. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. After I joined Monarch, I was shocked to see how many subscriptions I had, and also all that takeout, it definitely stacked up. So thanks for the heads up, Monarch Money. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONMLB. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rodgers on X and Instagram. Rodgers, just like Dodgers, but replace the D with an R. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. All right, Dodgers fans, let's talk sweep. Look, the Phillies are a really, really good team. They finished with the second best record in the National League. They mashed lefties, and they're very battle-tested from that World Series run they had a couple of years ago. But if we're being honest, they looked shook in Game 1. If it weren't for that triple off the wall from JT Realmuto because of Teoscar Hernández not cutting off that ball, they probably would have just scored one run in this game. They couldn't catch up to Shohei Ohtani. They looked frustrated by the bullpen, and their top dogs, Turner, Harper, Schwarber, couldn't do much, if anything, in this game. Now they got to go against Blake Snell. Then they have to turn around, fly to LA, and go against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who has been lights out all season long. If the Phillies couldn't solve Ohtani, Travis, how are they going to handle these two?
It's a big ask, but they're really good. Like you said at the beginning here, that's a really good team. They pitch like crazy too, and I would not be surprised if they answer. I think this series still goes, 4 or 5 games. I don't think that either one of these teams has the ability to just go knock around the other one and just dominate them in a real way. We'll see. Now, you nailed it. The way that place was rocking through the early innings to the way it went just dead silent when Teo hit that home run, I think that speaks to that environment in Philadelphia. When they're ahead, that place is impossible to play in. If you can get a lead, all of a sudden, not only does it get quiet, they turn on their own guys and then they start going at their own players. So the Phillies players will be feeling a ton of pressure today. They know that if they do not win today, then they are in deep, deep trouble heading to Los Angeles, getting ready to face Yamamoto, Glasnow, who knows what else is, and then potentially Ohtani again in a Game 5. This is their season today against the Dodgers. They're going to throw everything they got. I think you'll see their manager make some decisions that are like in an elimination game. I think the Dodgers should play it like an elimination game. I really do, because if you can find a way to win this and going back, you just need to win one in LA. That's a huge, huge opportunity for the Dodgers. So I would not expect, or I should say, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dave do the, hey, we're going for it right here. They're not going to do that. We got a game to play with. We're just looking for the split. All that, they've got a chance to close this thing out or get very close to it. So I think both teams play this like it's a Game 7 today.
And things are lined up perfectly for the Dodgers, having that day off on Sunday, being able to reset their rotation, being able to reset their bullpen after the wild card round. And it's like, you needed a good outing from Shohei Ohtani. You got it. If you get lights out Blake Snell and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, I can't see the Phillies doing anything in this series. And this is a far cry from when I did the Locked On crossover edition with the Phillies host Connor Thomas. And I told him, man, I'm nervous. It's a big series. It's the anticipated the NLCS, that you think that the winner of this round makes it to the World Series. And you know that you still got to win 4 more against either the Cubs or the Brewers. But right now it's just the clash of titans. It's the battle of the giants. And right here, now FanDuel has the most likely outcome for this series, Dodgers in 3. That tells you where the confidence level is.
I like all of those things, but I'm still as nervous as I was before game 1. Phillies are really good. Like this is not a Reds team like we saw in the last round, where once you got them down that you're going to be able to win that series. You're just a lot better than the Reds. The Dodgers might be a little better than the Phillies. Might be. So the Phillies will respond. I expect them to do it. And here's the other thing, Harry, and not to be a doomsdayer, not to be the guy, but the Dodger bullpen is still very much a part of this team. And as long as they are, and as long as Blake Snell and Yamamoto and these guys cannot pitch 9 innings, it's always going to be a question mark. I know they've done much better. Vesia has looked a little bit better. Obviously, Roki has changed the dynamics of this a little bit. Knowing that you can go to a glass now and in the pen to eat an inning or 2 here or there, it's changed it a little bit. But the guys that we have been really worried about are still on this team. They really, they're still going to have to get some important outs at one point or another. So hopefully they continue to trend in the right direction. But I'm optimistic after winning game 1, but I am a long way from comfortable with this series being over. The Phillies will respond. They're really good.
And in a short series,
yes,
one game can be a huge difference. That's why I want Dave Roberts to be aggressive. I want him to go out there and to treat this game like if it were game 5, go for the win. And if you get one more win out of Philly, you come back to LA and say, like, okay, Wednesday, we aren't playing with a lot of pressure. If we don't get Wednesday, we can get Thursday and get the one win that's left to get this series advancement to the championship series against either the Brewers or the Cubs. The Brewers, you would have to go on the road first. The Cubs, you would host in games 1 and 2. And let's also be realistic. Baseball doesn't always always follow the standards. And the Phillies, after only scoring 3 in game 1, they could all of a sudden go get a 5-run rally early in the game, knock out Blake Snell, and then it's a completely momentum change for this series coming back to LA.
Well, think about Snell against the Reds, right? Where the Reds were ultra aggressive, swinging early in the counts, and they allowed Snell to kind of settle in, keep his pitch count pretty manageable, so he was able to pitch much deeper into the game than he otherwise might be able to. I think the Phillies might have a slightly different approach, knowing that Snell's pitch count can get away from him at times. I wouldn't be surprised if I were Rob Thompson, if I were the manager of the Phillies, I would be talking with my guys of, we just need to get in that bullpen. If we get in that bullpen, this game opens up for us. We have a huge advantage once the starting pitcher comes out of the game. Burn that pitch count up. I think you'll see a lot of 2-ball, 2-strike counts. I think you're going to see guys be very, very, even a team like Harper and Schwarber and those guys are ultra aggressive hitters, Turner, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw them take a more deliberate approach just to try to pump that pitch count up, because that's guy to guy, bat to bat. The Dodgers are going to match up with anybody. But once you get past that starting pitcher, and once, especially if you got to get 3 outs to get to Roki or 3 outs to get to whoever you're going to use at that back end, those 3 outs can be, it's that 8th inning is that nightmare inning that they've had. And even in the game against the Phillies, it got a little tense. They got out of it, but that's the one that they still need to navigate a few more times before I'm going to believe that they figured that problem out.
And what a huge difference it made for the Dodgers that they were able to get Christopher Sanchez out 5 2/3 instead of 6 full innings and just bring the bullpen in the 7th. The Dodgers were able to get 6 out of Shohei. So what's the goal for you with Blake Snell? How long do you feel that he needs to go to be in a comfort zone for the Dodgers in this game, Travis? 6, 7, 8, 9?
I think if you got 7 innings out of him, you would feel like you got exactly what you wanted. In a dream scenario, if he can manage his count and get through 8, sure. 6 would be, I think, the floor of feeling. to have to cover 9 more outs with that bullpen seems like a lot. If it's just 6, I feel a little bit better about it. So I think I'll put the number at 7. If Snell can give them 7 innings, I think the Dodgers are in great shape. If it's less than that and it goes to the bullpens, I think it's anybody's bet.
If Snell pitches 7, I'll say it right now, the Dodgers win game
Probably.
2. So, yes, a sweep is realistic right now, but not automatic. The Dodgers need to stay locked on, pun 100% intended, attack early, and keep trusting their depth. They're a way deeper team than the Philadelphia Phillies, and that was shown in game 1. By the way, thanks to all our callers. Thanks to all our texters over at the Locked On Dodgers listener line. Today, we didn't have space for any voicemails or texts. By the way, shout out to Tony from Los Feliz, who predicted correctly that the Dodgers were going to run with only 11 pitchers in the divisional series, and he called it. He even said, keep Justin Dean. Alex Call. It's like, what? Alex Call started game 1. Justin Dean came in the late innings to be a defensive replacement. He called it perfectly. So we got very smart listeners and viewers, Trav.
Indeed. Look, maybe he's buddies with Dave Roberts, and Dave's spilling some tea for him along the way. Whatever it is, keep calling, Tony.
If you got that direct line, Tony, tell him to not pitch Tanner Scott in any postseason games this year. 279-3-LOCKED, 279-356-2533 is the listener line. Okay, that'll do it for today's episode of Locked On Dodgers. If you're still craving more baseball talk, have the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night be your second listen. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find it on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday, to break down Game 2 with Snell on the mound and see if the Dodgers can keep this train rolling. The confidence meter, how high, how low, Trev?
Moderately high, but cautiously optimistic. I'm going to put it at 7.
Okay, we're whooping tail. We're winning this game. Confidence level for me, 10.
Good. I'm glad one of us needs to be at a 10. I'm too superstitious. I'm waiting for the roof to fall in, but I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
All right, let's level things out. You say a 7, I say an 11. So we got right there. We're even leveled up. I know we're winning this game. We appreciate you all for riding with us. Until next time, keep it real. Keep it Dodger Blue.